Tonight on Nebraska Nightly, students around the country are protesting for Palestine.
A UNL professor makes a documentary.
And the esports trend is now a part of Nebraska. This is Nebraska Nightly.
Live from the Don and Lorena Meyer studio at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln College of Journalism and Mass Communications, this is Nebraska Nightly.
Welcome to Nebraska Nightly. I'm Elena Tomish.
And I'm Mackenzie Noble. Our top story today. Students and members of the community gathered Wednesday on campus in support of Palestine. The event focused on short teachings, dances, and chants. In a campus-wide email, UNL's Chancellor Rodney Bennett said the leaders of the event met with campus administrators and were told not to jeopardize public safety, disrupt academic activities, or destroy property. Nebraska Nightly's Lance Vai was there.
Activities, teach-ins, and prayer were all a part of the protest that took place at the Union on Wednesday. The Liberated Zone was organized by Lincoln for Palestine, a group that shares information about protests, demonstrations, and boycotts within the Lincoln community. According to their social media, this event coincides in solidarity with occupied Palestine and students across the nation protesting on their campuses as well. Along with the teachings and activities, the organizers also brought a list of demands for the university, which they say are supported by students across the nation.
I think our demands are pretty aligned with the demands of student movements all across the country, which is we want to see the university disclose any investments that they might have with Israel. And then we also want the university to end ties with their study abroad program that they have in Israel as well.
Extra precautions were taken prior to the protest starting. UNL police swept the area early in the morning prior to the start of the protests, and officers were at the protest as well. Organizers said that although the protest was in solidarity for those across the country, it would remain peaceful. Those in attendance ranged from students to staff and even local community members. Some were there to learn more, and others, like Safa Atasi, know what the Palestinians are facing firsthand.
I'm originally Syrian. I'm a Syrian American. And so I experienced the war that happened in Syria, and we have relatives and family, and we know how the suffering. And so being a Middle Eastern, being a Syrian, we are more exposed to the other side, the other opinion of what's going on in the Middle East. Palestinians were really restricted from entering their own country, going to some areas, restricted from food and stuff, even electricity, all these things.
Lance Vai, Nebraska Nightly.
To get a perspective on the conflict in the Middle East, Nebraska Nightly spoke with political science professor Ari Cohen. Cohen is the director of the UNL Center for Judaic Studies. Cohen urges students to study abroad to better understand the region.
In particular, because of the situation in Israel and Palestine, it gives students an opportunity to actually go there and see things firsthand and make their own decisions. It's not mediated by me. It's not mediated by what they saw on the news or what they heard at a rally. They actually get to talk to people who are on the ground, who live there. When people can't adopt that more nuanced position, we don't get anywhere. And that's, in some ways, that's where we've been. We have the Israeli government, which does not have a nuanced position, and we have the Hamas, which does not have a nuanced position. We're stuck now. We have been stuck for many months, unable to make any motion one way or the other. And the only thing that's happening is a lot of innocent people are being harmed terribly.
Cohen says the issue is not just black and white, and the only way this can be solved is by having real conversations about the conflict.
The man who assaulted a Lincoln police officer earlier in the week has been arrested, and the officer received only minor injuries. The LPD tried to contact 57-year-old Bradley Hester on Wednesday about a vandalism case. The officer told Hester he was under arrest, but he resisted and swung a folding knife. The officer managed to evade the strike, but both individuals ended up on the ground. Hester persisted in lunging toward the officer, but the officer regained his footing and used his taser. Hester was arrested and lodged in jail for attempt of second-degree assault on an officer, use of a deadly weapon to commit a felony, third-degree assault on an officer, and resisting arrest using a deadly weapon. The officer suffered minor injuries to his hand, elbow, and knees.
Governor Jim Pillen's office released a detailed list outlining the elimination of nearly 1,000 state employment positions scheduled for June 1st. Pillen signed an executive order Tuesday that calls for any state position that remains unfilled for 90 days to be removed. That's according to the list. This includes 973 positions, with 37% of the 973 positions coming from the state's largest agency, the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. The executive order will mandate the elimination of positions within 38 departments, offices, boards, and commissions, with an anticipated saving of nearly $40 million, as stated by the governor. The saved funds are intended for redistribution, particularly for property tax relief, according to the state budget administrator. The order does not apply to certain critical positions such as public safety or law enforcement, as well as exempt positions which include employees of the University of Nebraska.
A pickup truck crashed into the front of two businesses this morning. The accident happened east of O Street in the downtown area. The accident happened just after 9 a.m. today at Auto Glass Now and Puff Smoke Shop. The front of the vehicle is demolished, with parts of glass from both the windshield and the windows from the stores littering the front of the vehicle. Nobody was seriously injured. However, the driver was placed under arrest once the police arrived. The reason for the crash is still unknown, and this story is ongoing.
The esports phenomenon has been sweeping across the country, with high schools and universities alike adding programs. The University of Nebraska reached back to the glory days and hired former Husker and NFL football player Amon Green to head up the university's esports program.
My name is Amon Green. I'm Director of Esports / head coach here in the University of Nebraska and lecturer, and I teach Intro to Esports. Esports is basically competitive video games. Yeah, you have two teams competing, so similar to watching our Big Red Cornhuskers playing football against Ohio State. You know, you have that matchup between the FPS and Rocket League, and fighting games as well, like Super Smash Brothers. Those are most of the competitive games that we play at the high school and collegiate levels. Nebraska Esports was at one point a club organization run by the students. It was RSO here on campus. And now with myself and Coach Ryan Tan, Assistant Director Ryan Tan coming in, there is a structure about it on the varsity and JV side that then the faculty members like ourselves, we help manage and guideline the varsity and the JV side to make sure practices and events that are coming down the line, that they are well aware of what they have to do, and we organize practices, the structure of practices throughout the season. All right, with the structure of the Nebraska Esports, like I mentioned, we have the varsity JV side, then the club side, but then also in terms of jobs, we have basically the students as coaches, which is called team managers, but then the club side of it, we have a president, we have a vice president, we have a treasurer, and so those are the officers along that help us. Now, what is the BEC, or what we call, so we break it down into the Big Esports Conference. So that right there is all the Big Ten schools working together to basically construct a season of games for all the teams that we played in, and those teams were the Valorant team, the Overwatch team, the Rocket League team, and the Super Smash Brothers team players. And so with that, we had the first LAN event up at Ohio State's campus. We had the opportunity to bring 9 student athletes there to participate. Our Smash team qualified there and played in pool play first. Came out of pool play with about 1 or 2 losses, so that put them in 3rd. And then they finished the whole Big Esports Conference tournament, I believe 7th or 8th. And that's just something that obviously they're going to remember for a long time. And like I said about the freshmen that were on the Smash Brother team, they get to have that experience to get ready for next year. So something that will be very accustomed to coming into the next season of 2025 or 2024 and 2025 of next year. So with Nebraska Esports growing, I say a lot of our goals start with, our number one main goal starts with building out the esports facility that's going to be in the student union. We're having important conversations over the last year and a half, and we're getting very close. So I'm super excited for this fall to have that facility there, and we'll be able to have practice in person and do a lot of, on campus and in-student events there to be, a part of campus and fundraise as well. So tune in next month to the Nebraska Esports Updates.
Coach Green has returned to Lincoln after building a program at Lakeland College in Wisconsin. Green's priorities now include building the esports facility on campus, as well as increasing scholarship opportunities for students.
Well, UNL co-JMC professor Barney McCoy created a documentary about a World War II correspondent from Nebraska. Running Towards the Fire vividly portrays the crucial contributions made by war correspondents during the Allies' 1944 D-Day invasion of Europe and the subsequent defeat of Nazi Germany and the Axis powers in 1945. These unsung heroes courageously risked their lives to provide first-hand reports informing the world of the sacrifice displayed by the American and Allied forces in their battle against the Nazis.
The documentary draws extensively from the previously unpublished memoirs of Robert Rubin, the Omaha-born war correspondent who was parachuted into Normandy, France hours before the D-Day invasion and was the first journalist on the ground. Rubin chronicled the Allies' liberation of France and Belgium and fierce fighting in Germany that forced the Nazis May 7, 1945 to surrender.
Running Towards the Fire is a collaborative effort produced by McCoy with support from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln College of Journalism and Mass Communications, Humanities Nebraska, the Donald and Lorena Meyer Foundation, Nebraska Public Media, and Painted Rock Productions.
For more information, please visit go.unl.edu/runningtowardsthefire.
In other news, the weather has been all over the place lately, but meteorologist Dominic Ferraro has more. Dominic?
Thank you, Mackenzie. Definitely a busy week in weather. Taking a look to Sunday for the 2024 Lincoln Marathon. We'll start things out 5 a.m. clear skies, 42 degrees if you're getting out. Getting a little warm up in before the race. Definitely going to want to take a jacket with you there. We'll kick things off at 7 a.m. 43 partly cloudy skies for your temperature there. Winds will be out of the east at 5 to 10 miles per hour, 8 a.m. 48. And then as we move into 11 a.m., sun really starts to get out, 59 degrees for your temperature there. So you might want to lose some layers throughout the race. And then by 2 p.m., 64 degrees, still partly cloudy skies there. And we'll top out on Sunday at 68 degrees. We got a nice weekend ahead, and we'll have your current conditions and the rest of the week after the break. Back to you.
Thank you, Dominic. Always such an exciting time with the marathon in town. So when we return coming up,
Gummies at Walgreens get popular.
it's the 11th day of Trump's court case.
And there's a glitch for students filling out FAFSA forms, all after the break. Tonight on Nebraska Nightly.
Okay, so how about this much?
I don't know.
Well, how about this much?
I don't know.
How about,
Actually, I don't know.
okay, maybe this much?
I don't know.
The very tip of your pencil, a fraction of a raindrop, 3 grains of salt. That's how much it takes for a dose of fentanyl to become lethal. Learn more at realdealonfentanyl.com.
Welcome back. Well, summer is on the horizon, and meteorologist Dominic Ferraro has our 7-day forecast to see if we get a little taste of that summer weather. Dominic?
Thank you, Elena. Clear skies started out today in the capital city. We've had a couple building clouds throughout the afternoon. Currently right now, partly cloudy skies, 69 degrees for your temperature here in Lincoln. Winds out of the south at 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting up to 30. Definitely a hard day for those trying to keep a good hairdo. Storms early tonight. Could see a few severe storms as showers will work their way into the capital city around 1 or 2 a.m. About an inch of rain expected with those, and the chance for damaging wind and hail. Winds will be out of the southeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Looking ahead to the start of your weekend, partly cloudy skies, 64 degrees for your temperature there. Winds will now shift to be out of the north at 10 to 15 miles per hour, and we could see gusts up to 20 there. So the rain chance going to play out here over the next 6 to 12 hours with a low pressure system working its way across the state. And then we have high pressure building in across the front there, and that'll kind of help clear us out on Saturday, and a nice good start to your weekend. Current satellite imagery right now. So those clouds right over the capital city I was talking about. It's, clear skies earlier today, now getting a little cloudy in the region. We have a line of storms starting out in western Nebraska, and so a few storms firing along the dry line down in Texas. Statewide temperatures right now, we can see that cold front working its way across the state. 51 in Valentine, 41 out in Shatter, 71 in North Platte, and McCook, 75 taking the high temperature across the state right now. 72 in Norfolk, 72 in Omaha as well, and 69 here in Lincoln. The rest of your week, mid-60s to upper 60s throughout the rest of your weekend, mostly sunny skies on Sunday. And then Monday, we get to start talking severe weather again. That's one day to definitely be weather aware. 75 degrees for the high there. We could see a few dangerous storms working their way through the area. The models are still a little uncertain about that, but definitely one to keep your eye on. And then sun comes up back out on Tuesday, 75 degrees for your temperature there. A little breezy, but nothing we can't handle. Monday, 73 or Wednesday, 73 for the high. Thursday, sunny and the chance for showers overnight, 70 degrees. And we'll end your week on Monday, 67 degrees and partly cloudy skies on Friday. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Dominic. Well, Donald Trump's former campaign secretary Hope Hicks answered questions from prosecutors Friday during the criminal hush money trial against Trump. Hicks says Trump ran his company like a family business. She noted everyone who worked there reported directly to Trump in some sense. Hicks said she was present for phone calls between Trump and AMI head David Pecker. AMI owns the National Enquirer, but she did not remember being in the room when the pair supposedly made plans to pay Stormy Daniels. The money was keep the adult film actress quiet about an alleged affair with Trump. Pecker previously testified Hicks was in and out of that meeting. Hicks did say she helped formulate the response to the controversial comments Trump made on an Access Hollywood tape, calling it a crisis. Hicks told the court Trump either posted his own tweets during his 2016 campaign or personally approved what staffers wrote.
Well, Walgreens is reportedly limiting online sales of a gummy candy after a big pump in popularity in the wake of a viral video. USA Today reports the pharmacy chain is limiting online sales of gummy mango peelable candy to 1 bag per customer. The treat is part of the chain's Nice brand and sells for about $1.99 a bag. Walgreens released the peelable candy in about 2,500 stores last fall, but a glowing TikTok review blew it up in January, causing the product to sell out nationwide in just 4 days. Walgreens credits the product's rise in popularity to that and other social media influencers. As a result of the product's success, Walgreens plans to sell it in 8,000 stores beginning May 22nd. If you're a fan of the gummies or TikTok trends, then you'll want to rush down to your local Walgreens before they sell out.
TSA agents were scared out of their skins this week when they found a snake in a Florida man's pants. During a routine pat-down, the snakes were found on the passenger's body in a small green bag. Both snakes are uninjured. The local police department have been called to arrest the man. The snakes are in the hands of the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Community. Anyone caught transporting wildlife in and out of the country illegally can be fined upwards of $25,000 with possible jail time.
May 1st is traditionally College Decision Day, but glitches in this year's free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, have millions of students waiting to hear how much college will cost them this fall. That has some student aid experts worried. Karen Kafa is in Washington with what students and families should know.
May 1st typically closes out the college application process.
They've made the decision about the best college for them, and the hard part is done.
But because of the delayed rollout of the new streamlined free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, many schools did not receive student data from the Department of Education until March. Once they did, millions of forms were found to have errors, delaying financial aid offers and student decisions. Even the White House acknowledging the impact.
We have said, yes, the process has not gone smoothly, and we're doing everything that we can to make it go smoother.
Jill Dejean of the National Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators says there are concerns that first-generation and low-income students in particular have been too frustrated to finish the FAFSA process.
The FAFSA fiasco of this year has been telling them, don't bother applying for financial aid. It's too hard. The system's broken. We really need to start countering that narrative.
The National College Attainment Network says FAFSA completions are down 29% compared to last year's class at the same point in time. Pressed by lawmakers on Tuesday, Education Secretary Miguel Cardona said the department wants to get the word out that students still have time.
We're doing everything in our power to make sure we're providing more opportunities for students to fill out the better FAFSA.
The streamlined FAFSA cut its questions from a maximum of 108 questions to as few as 18.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Up after the break,
Nebraska volleyball finishes off their spring season tomorrow in Kearney.
Baseball makes history,
and Nebraska basketball picks up another commit. Stick with us.
The need for blood never stops. And at the Nebraska Community Blood Bank, your blood could help save lives. Right now, only 7% of the population donates blood, but imagine if there were more.
We're sitting at below a 7-day level of supply of all blood types across the board. So every blood type is important, and we need all donors of all types to come in and donate right now.
At the Nebraska Community Blood Bank, they believe that all types make a strong blood supply.
Of the 40 million tons of plastic waste generated in the U.S. in 2021, only 5%, or 2 million tons, was recycled. Make sure you do your part in keeping Anderson Hall clean. For more information on recycling statistics, visit epa.gov today.
Well, I've heard that Nebraska baseball have made history this weekend, and Husker volleyball is getting right back on the court. Sports reporter Avery Peck has more. Avery?
Nebraska baseball made history on Wednesday night, defeating Kansas State 8-0 with junior pitcher Jackson Brockett throwing the first no-hitter for the Huskers since just 1954. Nebraska baseball took on Kansas State in a midweek matchup Wednesday. Brockett started off hot with a strikeout in the first inning, foreshadowing for the rest of the night. Ben Columbus ripped his first home run of the season to right center, giving the Huskers a 5-run lead late in the game. Brockett had his strongest inning in the 6th, recording 3 straight strikeouts. No runs, no hits, with just 3 innings to go until a perfect game. A ground ball to third base, and Joshua Overbeek proved no issues as he fired it across the diamond to complete the play, keeping Brockett's no-hitter alive. Brockett finished the day in nearly perfect fashion, throwing his 12th K of the night, completing the no-hitter. A much-deserved celebration for the junior, who had not pitched for the Huskers since just February 17th. Huskers went on to defeat Kansas State 8-0. This was the first individual no-hitter in nearly 70 years. Brockett went all 9 innings, throwing 107 pitches and recording 12 strikeouts.
There's really many words you can put into it. You know, as a kid, especially being a pitcher, like most pitchers dream of this. Throwing a no-hitter doesn't come around very often, so it's just, it's surreal.
He's definitely a dude that works the hardest on the team day in, day out. He's going to come in and get his work in no matter what. Even though he hasn't traveled on some of the road trips, the game finally paid him back for being one of the best teammates we have.
Now on to Nebraska volleyball. The Huskers will take on the University of Nebraska Kearney Lopers in their annual spring game. Tickets are no longer on sale as the game sold out in just 46 minutes. The game will be played at UNK's Health and Sports Center on their campus. Nebraska played its spring game in Kearney in 2017 at their high school. For the 3rd year in a row, the game will be streamed statewide on Nebraska Public Media and online with Big Ten Plus. Doors open at 12:30 p.m. and following the end of the match, players will be there to sign all autographs. This will be freshmen Skylar Pierce and Olivia Mock's first match as Huskers.
Have stepped right into our program and just elevated the level of play, and I think that's really, really impressive to do as freshmen in general, but also with the level that our gym was already at.
I'm super excited. I'm a little nervous, but I'm so excited just to be in front of the fans. I remember coming to the games and being one of those fans, so the fact that I'll be on the court and being able to look up at everybody, it's going to be awesome.
Nebraska basketball picks up yet another transfer, Justin Bullis, out of Southeast Community College. Bullis joins the squad as a preferred walk-on, which means Coach Fred Hoiberg wanted him on the team but did not have a scholarship available. The forward could make up for some height they will be losing after a season-ending injury hit Rink Mast, a 6'10" junior from the Netherlands. Mast feared this was a possibility after sustaining multiple knee injuries last season, which led him to needing surgery. The all-10 big caliber forward averaged 12.3 points a game and 7.5 rebounds. He will be missed on the court, but now there's some room for others to step up in a larger role.
I just cannot believe that, one of our best players.
I know, and actually it was uncertain whether or not he'd be coming back to the Huskers, but Obviously, we find out now he was fully intending to come back, but it'll be about a year before we see him on the court, repping the red and white.
Something to look forward to in 2026.
When we
for sure.
return,
UNL is preparing to celebrate Cinco de Mayo.
the yearly De-Stress Fest is coming up.
And a big event is happening at UNL that's bringing over 500 students together. Stick with us.
Do one, come on.
This is Nebraska Nightly.
If you're a student at UNL and have ever been interested in reporting or video production, Nebraska Nightly is your place.
Big Boss!
Here you can build creative skills, no matter how much experience you have.
Our equipment is very, very high level here, and it's something that a lot of times a lot of people wouldn't get to access until they're kind of in a professional workspace.
Talk to a UNL advisor about joining Nebraska Nightly.
Welcome back. Well, it's such an exciting time of the year. Dead Week's coming up, finals are approaching, but Finley Stroh has all the details of how you can get away from the homework for a bit. Finley?
Calling all Husker students and RSOs. ASUN is hosting the big event tomorrow from 10 to 3 p.m. Its annual single day of service benefiting local nonprofits and residents in the greater Lincoln community. A minimum of 500 Huskers are needed to help complete service projects, including assisting residents at private properties and residences, cleaning up at local parks, and volunteering at nonprofit organizations. Full details about the volunteer sign up and the day's schedule is to be announced, and the more details to come online. Celebrate Cinco de Mayo on Monday the 6th at the East Campus Dining Center. This includes a full menu of special items just for the day that can be purchased under your meal plan. Additional menu information is available at menu.unl.edu. It's almost Dead Week on the UNL campus, and that means it's time for some extra self-care. In fact, May 7th to the 10th is De-Stress Week. To kick off the week, the Oasis Student Advisory Board is hosting De-Stress Fest, candlemaking aromatherapy. That will take place in the Oasis Lounge. Now back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Finley. Well, one of Nebraska Nightly's professionals and residents will be honored tomorrow night.
Mike McKnight has been named the 177th face on the Barham floor of the Omaha Press Club.
McKnight was born and raised in Lincoln and graduated from UNL in 1977.
He has 30 years of reporting experience at WWT in Omaha and 10 years of that as the State Bureau Chief.
He has won numerous awards, and we at Nebraska Nightly are just so proud of him.
Congrats, Mike. Well, let's take one last look at the weather for the weekend. Dominic?
Thank you, Elaine. I got a gorgeous weekend ahead. Partly cloudy skies, 66 on Saturday, and Sunday, mostly sunny, high of 68. Then the threat of severe weather returns on Monday, 75 degrees for your high there. However, all variables of severe weather on the table. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Again, model still not entirely sure how that's going to play out, but definitely one to be aware of from Monday.
Okay.
Well, at least it'll be okay for the marathon. That's really what
that's the important thing.
Yeah, that is true.
Runners in the rain.
I mean, the weather really has been all over the place, so who knows? We live in the Midwest. I mean, you can't really, if you expect things to happen, then you're the foolish one. So. Well, Nebraska Nightly is a production of the University of Nebraska's College of Journalism and Mass Communications.
Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week on Nebraska Nightly.